another to another Eat Speak Live, the most delicious live stream in the Metroplex. Steve, what have we done? 250 episodes. I have to get that right.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's barbecue season in Texas, and it's the most awaited day every 4 years. The same year that we inaugurate a president, we anoint the top 50 barbecue restaurants in Texas, and it's always the day that everybody waits for. And our guest today is none other than the barbecue editor of Texas Monthly Magazine, Daniel Vaughn. Hello, Daniel.
Oh, good to be with y'all.
Daniel, now hey, how many restaurants this time? 300 barbecue restaurants, is that right?
Yeah, it was over 300. I think 319 was our final count for the ones that we visited specifically for this search. Yes.
And you landed at the top 50. And then how many honorable mentions are there? Are there another 50 or I haven't counted?
There are 50 honorable mentions as well. So yeah, we've
Oh,
got 100 barbecue joints recognized on the list total.
okay. And we should start off at the restaurants from the Fort Worth area that are named. First of all, we have two restaurants in the top 10, which is just as many as Austin. Fort Worth does not have the number one restaurant anymore. That's Burnt Bean from Seguin. But we have the number three restaurant now, Goldie's, south of Kennedale, which was number one last time around. And then we also have the number seven restaurant, Dane's in Aledo, which people have been
Yep.
expecting Danes and following Danes to move up with all the work he's doing. So Goldie's and Danes both in the top 10. Panther City and Sabar Barbecue in the also in the top 50, along with North Texas Smokehouse in Decatur. Daniel, I didn't used to count Decatur as local, but I got out the other day and saw how far North Fort Worth has grown, and yeah, I think it almost bumps up against Decatur now. So I'm going to count Decatur as local. So we
Yeah.
have five in the top 50 and quite a few more in the top 100. So it's a good day for Fort Worth. It's always a good day for barbecue, and gosh, it's a good day for Texas Monthly. Daniel, go ahead right off the bat and tell people where they can read this list.
Yeah, well, we have a dedicated barbecue channel on Texas Monthly, so you can read all about the top 50, the honorable mentions, and all the sidebars as well about different subjects all over the barbecue landscape. And you can get links to that from my social media at BBQ Snob on Instagram, X, and Blue Sky, and from Texas Monthly as well.
That should just about take care of it for a while. But after you go read a little bit, then you're going to have to get up and get in your car and go eat barbecue. So, Daniel, you're somewhere eating barbecue today. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm here in beautiful Mansfield, Texas, where I just had an interview with Tales from the Pits podcast and stopped in at Hurtado Barbecue.
Now,
I stopped in at the Mansfield location of Hurtado Barbecue for lunch today.
Hurtado is an honorable mention. They're a top 100 restaurant, and they have four locations now in Arlington, Mansfield, Fort Worth in the hospital district, and downtown Dallas. And their downtown Dallas location is doing well. So
Indeed.
you went to Hurtado because you can't go to Goldie's today. It's not open, right?
Goldie's is not open today. Yeah, Tuesday, for Texas barbecue, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are usually the days you can count on most places being open. But Tuesday is a little light sometimes.
Go ahead and talk about the top restaurants and what made Burnt Bean number one. It's been in the list before, but what took it to the top?
Well, first I'll say that you talked about Decatur maybe being in Fort Worth now. I have a feeling that Seguin will soon be claimed by San Antonio, with Burnt Bean being the number one barbecue joint now. What made them unique is really just the variety that they have on their menu, the variety that they have on their daily menu, and also on their Sunday breakfast menu. Just how barbecue forward that brunch menu is, and just the consistency at which they serve it. It's just a visit after visit, whether it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day you go into Burnt Bean, you're going to have an incredible meal.
And then Leroy and Lewis, took the number two spot ahead of Goldie's. That's a really popular spot in Austin. I've been there. They seem to have a real well-rounded menu.
Yes, very similar to Burnt Bean in the sort of vastness of their menu. Just so many different options to choose from the barbecue side, from the sandwich side, and really inventive barbecue as well. They were really the first to go out on a limb and not serve brisket every day and really focus on beef cheeks. They now do serve brisket every day, now that they've moved into their brick and mortar that they've been into since last March. But yeah, they have a really wide menu and just so many delicious things to choose from.
Steve?
Yeah, you mentioned consistency. That seemed last time when we had you on about the last list. You had mentioned that Goldie's was extremely consistent, and that the so how many times do y'all go to the top 10?
So between the whole team and myself, it's 3 visits at
Mhm.
least. Some I've made more, but yeah, the 3 visits is the norm.
Uh-huh. And like I said, it's very and part of getting in that top 10 is being very consistent.
Well, and being consistent when I visit, I'm usually a known quantity going into these places. People do recognize me,
Mhm.
and so I'm gonna probably get their best. They can't do any more than their best, but so it is also really important that we send out folks from all over the Texas Monthly staff who are also part of this search as well, so we can get their opinion and get their score as well.
Talk. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, it's kind of we used to do a burger battle and we did the same thing.
That's right. The much belated burger battle, which I'm still trying to lose the pounds for the burger battle. But, let's talk about our top 10. Did Goldie's not hold up, or did these other places just get better? And what put Dane's in the top 10? Tell us what is really good about Dane's. People in Aledo sure like it.
Yeah, well, when it comes down to the top 10, there's so little difference between number 1 and number 10. A lot of what it comes down to is just small mistakes on individual visits. And that's really some of the reasons that, Burnt Bean and Leroy and Lewis weren't higher in the last list. And Goldie's didn't make any of those mistakes in 2021. There were a couple this time around. And so, it's still a fantastic barbecue joint that serves probably the most consistently great straight up barbecue menu of any of them. The others just have a lot more options there, and which can be a benefit and a detriment as far as giving us more things to evaluate to impress us, but also more things, more chances for mistakes, I guess. So Goldie's is still doing fantastic. I mean, if you're in the top 10, you're fantastic. If you're in the top 50, you're doing fantastic. Like in 2013, I think which was the first top 50 list that I had a hand in, there's only 7 barbecue joints that remain from that one in this current list. And I think if you looked at our honorable mentions, the 50 that are in the honorable mentions list today, those could probably easily make up the top 50, the rest of that top 50 back in 2013. That's just how good barbecue has gotten. And so, that difference from 1 to 10 is minute, and that difference from 10 to 50 is also rather small.
Yeah, some of the restaurants that were in the top 50 have fallen all the way out of the list. So now talk about our other local Panther City, and people don't know much about Sabar Barbecue and North Texas Smoke. So let's talk about our other 3 under Goldies and Danes.
Yeah, maybe unheralded because they're still in food trucks that serve minimal hours. But yeah, North Texas Smoke in Decatur was on our list of the best new barbecue joints back in 2023, and they certainly maintained that quality. And then, their sides, their meats, they're very consistent as well. They serve a smaller menu. The Texas Twinkies are really good there as well. Saber Barbecue is even too new to have made our best new barbecue joint list because they opened just after it came out. And they have a food truck right there just south of downtown Fort Worth. And
Pakistani barbecue or South Asian barbecue.
yeah, Pakistani. So yeah, Zain Shafi, who is the owner and pitmaster there, is from his family's from Pakistan, and so he represents those flavors in his menu. So you have a tandoori smoked turkey, and they have lamb ribs there instead of pork ribs. But the brisket is really what impressed us there the most. It's got a really smoky edge to it. Yeah, just really great flavors, super juicy. And then Saber Barbecue is one of those that, Goldie's may have gone from number 1 to number 3, but since Goldie's was number 1, 3 different pitmasters have left Goldie's to go out and open their own barbecue joints. That's Zain Shafi at Saber Barbecue. There's Chuck at BBQ in Lockhart. And then Amir down at Redbird Barbecue in Port Neches. And all 3 of those are in our top 50, along with Goldie's. So it's really says something to do, says something about how well Goldie's can train people and the willingness they are to allow them to go out and flourish on their own.
You made a point about Goldie's doing well at the basic brisket, sausage, ribs. Is that, some of these restaurants are serving like burned end peach cobbler and things like that. Is it a good thing to count all that in the rankings to say, well, we like this restaurant because they have potato salad on a biscuit, or you didn't have anything like that, but there's some other things that are pretty far from the Texas Trinity. Do you feel like, let me ask it this way. What are the best restaurants just for brisket, sausage, and ribs?
I mean, I would say that Goldie's is there. I mean, Goldie's is the one if you're going to go brisket, sausage, and ribs. Dane's is also really great. Yeah, I mean, that's really where we start though with all these places, right? If the brisket and the ribs and the sausage aren't great, you probably don't have much of a shot at the top 50 if all three of those aren't great. And so when you all get all the way down to number 50, not that we rank them all that way down, but when you get down to the argument of number 50 versus 51, oftentimes you're arguing about things besides that, because that Texas Trinity, the brisket, sausage, and ribs, is going to be great if you're going to be in the conversation.
Steve?
I had a question that was asked to me to ask you, and that is, when you see like a line at Goldie's and it's really long, what is it that should you get in the line and hope there's something at the very end, or should you just skip it and go the next morning, or what, or do you go in the afternoon, or what?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly everybody's patience for a barbecue line is going to vary. I mean, if you're used to just going down to Soul Man's and picking up a sandwich, maybe you're not going to love standing in line for Goldie's.
Hitting close to home there, Daniel.
Yeah, maybe you're in a different barbecue loving crowd. But with Goldie's, I mean, obviously there's going to be a line anytime you go. The same is going to be true at a place like Dane's now being in the top 10. But use your common sense. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, those are going to be your busiest days, right? The days that people can travel from all over. So try to go a weekday. I mean, Cadillac Barbecue, who's in our top 50 in Dallas, they've opened up on Wednesdays for probably the last 8 months or so. And you can still walk in on a Wednesday at lunchtime and have a pretty easy time getting through what line is there.
I tell people to go to Dane's about 1 o'clock and eat whatever's left. You might not get the briskets. Whatever's left will be really great. So I just tell people fall in behind at Dane's and eat a late lunch. You'll be in good shape. Daniel, that brings up a question I had. It's about the restaurants that aren't just limited hours anymore. Dane's, Panther City, restaurants like that are doing dinner hours now. They're doing more days, more hours. Have you ever looked at the list and seen, how many of the restaurants are limited lunch only and how many are trying to do a full lunch and dinner cycle? It seems like that might hurt consistency.
Yeah, I mean, it is a risk as far as consistency is concerned, but it is something that we would look at as far as like a tiebreaker. If we're talking about a place that's serving lunch on Saturday and Sunday versus a place that's serving lunch and dinner 7 days a week, if they have really similar barbecue, that place that's serving it 7 days a week is probably going to get the edge there.
What has changed about barbecue? I remember your kind of the origin story about how you were on a mission you were in Dallas and you were on a mission to prove there was barbecue in Dallas as good as Austin, and couldn't prove that Austin turned out to be better. So you basically picked up North Texas and carried it yourself and made North Texas barbecue better. But what has changed since you started going to barbecue restaurants?
Yeah, you're talking about back in 2009 when I was searching around the DFW area and just couldn't find anything that really popped out as head and shoulders above everyone else. Soon after, Lockhart Smokehouse and Pecan Lodge opened up, and they really, I think, started the trend towards bringing that craft style of barbecue, that modern style of barbecue here to the DFW area. I think what I had seen change is just instead of having to search for it, it is really in your own backyard, pretty much anywhere you are in Texas. And that goes from El Paso all the way to Port Neches now. So, the fact that it is spread so wide, the quality of the barbecue and just the sheer amount of it, the trend that I see going forward is just, I got to wonder like how many of these places that are serving what is now a pretty expensive food, like just, do we have enough barbecue fans out there to support this huge crowd of really great barbecue joints that exist in Texas?
Have any barbecue places shut down from I guess a few have from the top 50s, but was there a notable closure that was just because of competition, too much competition?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head right now. No.
Yeah, it's like Texas can't get enough barbecue. Well, you said you find it in backyards, and that's literally where Dane Weaver started. He's got quite an origin story.
Yeah, they were on our top 50 last year, or I'm sorry, back in 2021, when they were still kind of nomads with the food truck, and that's how they started. Serving essentially illegally out of the backyard without a food permit, which is how a lot of folks get started in the barbecue game, serving at gas stations and whatnot, and yeah, moving that food truck around to different spots, trying to find, trying to find their crowd, right? Trying to find a home. And they thought they had that in West Fort Worth, and things didn't work out with that property, so they moved further west out to Aledo, and I don't think they could be happier with the location they've chosen. The community there has really supported them, and you mentioned their dinner service, but they're also serving breakfast these days too. So if you wanted to get out for breakfast tacos or kolaches, they're serving that early in the morning too.
And that is an outstanding kolache. Their kolaches are some of the best we've had in North Texas. Yeah, I've joked you they were replaced. They were in Westland for a while, where they lost their links because Taylor Sheridan took over the space. So I
Yes.
should say, I tell them they should build it as Dave's Craft Barbecue, former tenants of the what is it, the Patch Cafe and Landman. So
Yes.
the Patch Cafe used to be Dane's. That is a natural barbecue place. Well, is there any place that's too new that didn't make the list, but is in the places to watch for next time? Can you tell us about any of those?
Well, let's see. I wrote about a place called Black Gold Barbecue, which is out in Buna, Texas, just north of Beaumont, out in the middle of nowhere. And it opened up, very late December, early January. So it had opened a little too late to really be in consideration for the top 50. But I really enjoyed my meal out there, and just a beautiful restaurant. Then I recently wrote about a place that we did miss, Boxcar Barbecue, which is a food truck operating out of Lufkin. And they're putting out some great barbecue, and they opened in 2023, and we just missed them in our search, but got to them a couple of weeks ago and just did a write-up about them recently.
Gosh, you went to 319 places, but didn't quite make that one. So.
Yeah, well, this year, so our search this year was really, we had about 4 months last year, and then I had from January 1st till about March 2nd to finalize things. And in that time, I only got to 108 different barbecue joints. So that's all I could manage.
Steve?
How many entries are in your spreadsheet, for each barbecue place?
How many entries? Oh, for like scores, you mean?
Yeah, how do you score it on your spreadsheet to kind of?
So the scores, I mean, they come down to those basic meats like you talked about, the brisket, ribs, and the sausage.
Mm-hmm.
And just about every barbecue joint in Texas serves that, and just about every one of them serves poultry as well, whether that's chicken or turkey. So we have that on the list. We have evaluation for sides, for desserts, for the atmosphere. Not all of those things count equally. Certainly the meats, the barbecue itself is at the top of the list. But yeah, we include all that stuff in those initial rankings. And then I make sure to visit each one of them individually, any of those that are in contention, to essentially be that tiebreaker between, like I said, January 1st, we got that list, and that included 120 different contenders with scores high enough to be considered for the top 50. And that's 120 spots and only 50 that we could fill. So a lot of
how many
whittling
pounds
down.
you gain that week, a couple of weeks?
I didn't do myself the disservice to hop on the scale before and after.
I mean, you should do that next list.
Probably not.
In the beginning, I think you were driving like a Toyota Corolla or Avalon or something like that. You had a Toyota sedan, and is that what's still going all over the state? Do they actually get to fly you to places now? Is it?
I mean,
up?
if I'm headed out to El Paso or down to the valley, I'm gonna fly these days for sure. Southwest still has inexpensive airfare if you can shop early enough. About to lose those free bags, but yeah, I drive most of the places. I had a Volkswagen Passat was my
Okay.
go-to for most of this trip, and then I totaled that 2 weeks ago. So
Oh,
uh,
no.
it's officially retired.
Were there any leftovers in it? Did like rib bones go flying or anything like that?
No, not this time.
Just you went flying. Okay. Well, I hope
No
that
barbecue leftovers were harmed.
I hope that I hope you weren't harmed in that either.
No, it was, yeah, no, I was fine.
What does this
Thank
mean
you.
to the magazine? How much as far as readership and web traffic and how many readers are there for a typical story like this over time?
Yeah, I mean, it will be one of our highest traffic days of the year, probably our highest traffic day of the year. This will be our best selling issue of the year for sure. It always is, but it is not always our most profitable because it costs so much to put together. I think this time around we calculated about $26,000 in food costs alone, just in reimbursements for restaurant costs in that 6-7 month search period. So we've put a whole lot of money into it. And it's one of the things that certainly from a barbecue standpoint, it's the thing we're most known for. And I think for a lot of people who are big barbecue fans, it's the thing that Texas Monthly is most known for. We certainly do a whole lot more work outside of this barbecue list in the 4 years in between. And I do a whole lot more work in the barbecue space outside of this top 50 in those 4 years in between as well. But yeah, it is big for us. It's certainly a monster issue for us.
You mentioned cost. I want to come back and ask you about that. But Steve, do you have another question?
No, I mean, the cost was what I was thinking too when you talked about, because it seems like the cost of barbecue is, especially in the craft barbecue, is really blooming in price. I mean, really.
Everybody here was happy to see Terry Black's open his, magnificent mansion of barbecue down on West 7th. But they went to Terry Black's and came back and said, "Woo, $40. I'm going back to Railhead for that $9 lunch." It's like, it made a big difference. How do people beat the high price of barbecue?
Generally, it's looking for places that serve plates. That's sort of my go-to if I'm looking for a deal. That 2 meat combo plate, or sometimes that 3 meat combo plate. Generally, I think people still have a hard time knowing how many pounds of barbecue they can eat. So I see these platters with, 1.5 pounds of barbecue on it, and people are complaining about how much they spent for their lunch. And it's like, well, you did buy lunch for 3. Maybe it's just you sitting at the table, but that's enough to feed 3 right there. But yeah, I'm usually looking for plates, for sandwiches, and then especially some of the small town spots like Lavaca Barbecue in Port Lavaca, Yerby's Barbecue up in Pilot Point, if you want to claim that for Fort Worth too. They're looking to add deals to that menu and some inexpensive lunch special plates. So just keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. You don't always have to order barbecue by the pound.
Yeah, I noticed the other day at Heim, they have a 2 meat plate with sides now. They never had a plate like that. I got out of Heim for about half what I used to get out of there for. So
Yeah.
and it's still the same. It was very good. Particularly turkey was very good. Anything else? Any sleepers? Any place in Fort Worth that isn't on the list that you really like?
You're putting me on the spot now.
Well, you can talk about somebody that's an honorable mention, like Smokealicious. That's someplace special.
Yeah, Smokeaholics is
Smokeaholics.
Yeah, Smokeaholics is one of my favorites for sure. I just recently wrote about their Soul Food Sunday as well. If you go the 4th Sunday of every month, they do a Soul Food Sunday where they got smoked oxtails and smoked meatloaf, smoked pork chops, and you can get some of that smoked chicken salad as well, that smoked turkey and chicken salad. So yeah, Smokeaholics is certainly a favorite. There's really is great barbecue everywhere. You mentioned Terry Black's and Hutchins. Neither of them are in the top 50, but both are honorable mentions. And you can certainly get a great meal 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at both of those spots at the many locations of between Hutchins and Terry Black. So
Yeah.
That's a good one as well.
And original Roy Hutchins is coming to Arlington. So if basically, if you parked on the north side of the stadium, you'll be able to go to original Roy Hudson's, or if you parked on the south side of the stadium, you can walk to Hurtado's. So you'll be able to get good barbecue on
And you
either side of the stadium.
and you can get a Texas Twinkie at any of them.
That's right. Uh, Anything else to cover, Daniel? Anything else about the story or about the whole epic saga of crisscrossing Texas? I just envision like a great big bus with 25 tasters on board that goes from town to town, just throwing rib bones out the window as you go. But
Yeah, no, it was all individual searches, but I mean, I'm already on the road looking for that next list, the 2027 list of the 25 best new barbecue joints. So I'm already in the midst of that search. So there's no rest.
That'll be great. I'll see you down the road. Steve, anything else?
Do you have a personal favorite of type of meat when you're eating barbecue?
Well, it's one of the things that if I see pork steak on a menu, I'm going to order it. So I certainly get my fill of brisket and pork ribs. Sometimes the beef rib is just too much too much for one person if I'm there alone. But a pork steak, if I see that on the menu, I'm going to order it.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the beef sausage at Sabar. We don't see enough beef sausage.
And I like sausage at first, so I'm a big sausage person.
It's been many years ago, but when Longoria was on the list, one thing Longoria's does well is beef sausage. So
yeah, that brisket stuff.
Yeah, when they have that, I really like the sausage. Well, thanks a lot. Thank you for making time on this really busy day, and thank you for having a little early lunch so you can hop on with us here. This will probably be viewed for days and weeks and probably months to come while people get their own checklist and map and try to hit all the places. So we've been with Daniel Vaughn, barbecue editor at Texas Monthly, and until next time, I'm Bud Kennedy
And Steve Wilson.